Jacksonville rapper Yungeen Ace arrested by Jacksonville Beach police around midnight.
So Yungeen Ace has long been known in Jacksonville. We are consistently monitoring those groups. We have people that are always watching them.
Yeah, we good after that. We just gotta go to the back. He's gonna get the camera. We're gonna take a picture. Bring him back here real quick. Step back here.
Foolio may have posted his party location for fun. But little did he know, it was an open invitation to his enemies, and a death sentence. Within hours, shots were fired, bodies dropped, and Jacksonville's rap war exploded in real life. Now police say rapper Yungeen Ace paid $10,000 for the hit, and they've got the video proof, the lyrics, and the confessions. This isn't just a diss track gone wrong. It's a full-blown murder investigation. But the real twist: Foolio was planning a peace song right before he died. You're not going to believe what detectives found and why this could be the end of ATK forever. Stay tuned, because once you hear this story, you won't look at Jacksonville rap the same again. In a stunning and highly consequential development out of Jacksonville, Florida, local law enforcement officials have intensified their investigation into a high-profile case that has rocked both the hip-hop community and the public at large. Today, authorities confirmed they are examining newly surfaced video footage that appears to directly implicate prominent rappers Yungeen Ace in what investigators are calling a meticulously planned and executed hit on rival rapper Foolio. This new piece of evidence, which has emerged in the midst of an already volatile investigation, is now central to a broader probe into alleged criminal activity tied to the Jacksonville-based rap collective, known as ATK Ace's Top Killers. According to internal sources within the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office JSO, the video footage in question reportedly features a confidential source making admissions about Foolio's targeted killing, with direct references to Yungeen Ace allegedly placing a bounty on Foolio's head. These revelations have prompted law enforcement to escalate the case significantly, with plans reportedly underway to bring Yungeen Ace in for formal questioning. The rapper's legal team has yet to make a public statement, but officials have made it clear that the stakes are rising quickly. Sheriff T.K. Waters, who currently oversees the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, issued an official statement earlier this morning confirming that a formal notice had been delivered to members of the ATK collective. While Sheriff Waters did not go into detail regarding the nature of the evidence, sources close to the investigation have revealed that it includes hours of surveillance footage, digital communication records, and witness testimonies that all point toward an organized effort to silence Foolio, a move police believe was driven by a long-standing feud between rival groups in the Jacksonville drill rap scene. The feud between Yungeen Ace's crew ATK and Foolio's camp is one that has been well documented both in law enforcement records and in the lyrics of the rappers themselves. What was once considered lyrical bravado and artistic storytelling is now under serious scrutiny by investigators who believe that some of the lyrics and music videos contain veiled references to real-life violence, past murders, and retaliatory acts. This blurring of lines between art and actual criminal activity is not new to the hip-hop community, but it has reached a boiling point in Jacksonville, where real bodies have fallen in the wake of what some describe as beef-turned-warfare. The current investigation gained a new sense of urgency after several individuals with known ties to Foolio were recently arrested in connection with unrelated offenses. However, during questioning, these individuals allegedly disclosed information that led detectives to re-examine the events surrounding Foolio's murder. Their statements, when cross-referenced with existing intelligence, phone records, and now the leaked video footage, painted a clearer picture of a broader conspiracy that may go far beyond simple street rivalry. In particular, investigators are focused on the financial trail. According to preliminary findings, there are digital transactions and online communications, suggesting that money may have been exchanged for the purpose of carrying out a hit. Law enforcement believes that Yungeen Ace, or someone acting on his behalf, may have offered a financial incentive reported to be as much as $10,000 to orchestrate the murder of Foolio. These claims have not yet been fully substantiated in court, but detectives believe the mounting evidence is strong enough to justify detaining and interrogating those involved. Jacksonville has long struggled with gang-related violence, and in recent years, the fusion of street activity with local drill rap culture has created a volatile environment. ATK, the group allegedly led or represented by Yungeen Ace, has frequently been mentioned in both criminal investigations and media stories for its alleged involvement in shootings, drug trafficking, and now, potentially, contract killings. Foolio, on the other hand, was associated with KTA, Kill Them All, a rival group that frequently clashed with a TK both on and off the mic. The death of Julio Foolio sent shockwaves through the city, sparking both mourning and speculation. His birthday celebration, which was meant to be a joyful occasion, ended in tragedy. That incident set off a chain reaction of events, including arrests, raids, and now, this expansive investigation. Authorities have spent months compiling evidence, analyzing social media posts, tracking phone records, and reviewing countless hours of YouTube videos and Instagram stories in which both groups have, at times, seemed to taunt each other or even allude to past crimes. The nature of drill rap as a genre that often draws directly from the harsh realities of street life has made it especially challenging for investigators to separate entertainment from evidence. However, Sheriff T.K. Waters has made it clear that the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is taking this case very seriously. In his public statement, he emphasized the department's commitment to holding those accountable who use their influence to fuel violence in the community. "This is not just about rap music," Sheriff Waters said. "This is about a culture of intimidation, retaliation, and silence that has claimed to many young lives in our city. We are committed to uncovering the truth, no matter where it leads." Legal experts say the case could set a precedent in Florida for how law enforcement interprets and responds to lyrical content in criminal cases. While artistic expression is protected under the First Amendment, prosecutors may argue that when lyrics contain explicit details that align too closely with real crimes, particularly when backed by other forms of evidence, they cross into the realm of confession or conspiracy. As of now, neither Yungeen Ace nor his legal representatives have issued a formal response to the allegations. However, sources close to the artist have suggested that he maintains his innocence and views the situation as a targeted effort to silence his voice and bring down his growing musical career. Still, with law enforcement building a case that includes surveillance footage, digital records, witness statements, and a motive grounded in long-standing beef, the future of the rapper's freedom hangs in the balance. While this investigation continues to unfold, fans, residents, and fellow artists in Jacksonville are left to reckon with the sobering reality that the city's drill scene, once seen as a raw but promising movement of youth expression, may now be forever linked with tragedy, retribution, and a potential legal reckoning that could reshape the local music landscape for years to come. Just as the heat from Julio Foolio's murder investigation turned toward Yungeen Ace, the rapper made a bold and suspicious move. He abruptly announced the disbandment of his gang, ATK. The timing couldn't have been worse. Not only did it raise eyebrows among authorities, but it also reportedly sparked someone from within to start talking. On Twitter, Yungeen Ace declared, "Ain't no such thing as a TK no more. That's done with." He reinforced the message on Instagram with a video, passionately distancing himself from the group. In the video, his tone was defensive and frustrated, calling out those who go silent when legal fees arise but are quick to talk tough online. "Where are they at when it's time to pay the lawyers?" he ranted. "Everybody wanna talk, but when it's time to show up, nobody's there. Forget all that fake loyalty." Despite his efforts to cut ties with the TK, the sudden breakup during an active investigation only intensified police scrutiny. To really understand why, consider this: 5 individuals, Alicia, Isaiah, Sean Rashad, and Davinar, currently behind bars, allegedly tied to Julio Foolio's murder. Rumors suggest they were hired guns. Yet, police have set their sights on a bigger figure, Yungeen Ace himself. Authorities reportedly believe he orchestrated the entire hit as the mastermind behind it all. In response, they've started pulling the plug on his concerts and business engagements, aiming to cripple his financial support and make it harder for him to mount a legal defense. The turning point in the investigation came when a video leaked online, sending shockwaves through the Jacksonville rap scene. In the footage, an unnamed individual whose voice alone was enough to stir suspicion made a jaw-dropping confession. Julio Foolio had a $10,000 bounty on his head, and it was allegedly Yungeen Ace who put the money up. "On everything I love. I'm the one who got Foolio," the masked speaker admitted in the video. That night, he was celebrating his birthday. "That was me. I ain't showing my face, but I did what had to be done. There was money on his head. Ace made sure of that. I rock with Ace. I'm a TK. I stay in Jacksonville heavy. He told me to slide. So I did." This stunning claim added fuel to an already raging fire. Yungeen Ace, under intensifying scrutiny, appeared on DJ Academic's podcast, where the questions grew sharper. Academics didn't mince words. Whack 100 says you're next either to be taken down or locked up. Caught off guard, Yungeen Ace responded with frustration. Why would he say that, bro? Why wish that on me? But Academics clarified it wasn't a wish. It was a reality. The streets, and now the law, were closing in on their next high-profile target. The roots of this deadly feud run deep. According to Academics, the motive behind Foolio's murder may go back years, to an ambush that forever changed Yungeen Ace's life. He and his brother were leaving a restaurant when Foolio's crew attacked. The assault ended and brother didn't survive. Recalling that night, Ace described holding his brother, hearing him say he couldn't move, and watching helplessly as life slipped away. Since that moment, retaliation seemed inevitable. And Foolio's birthday, that was when the payback unfolded. Police now believe that this wasn't random violence, it was carefully orchestrated vengeance. Official reports released today confirmed what many already suspected. Foolio, born June 21, 1998, was killed during an ambush early Sunday morning in Tampa. What was meant to be a weekend of celebration quickly spiraled into chaos and tragedy. Foolio's fatal mistake: broadcasting his every move online. Hours before his death, he posted several Instagram stories from an Airbnb announcing a pool party and inviting followers to DM for the address. "Pull up," he said. "We just got here." He went on to show off the party's interior, drinks flowing, surrounded by women. Unaware that every post was giving his enemies a roadmap, police were called to the Airbnb just 2 hours later, prompting the landlord to evict Foolio and his crew. Undeterred, Foolio shared his next move: a nearby nightclub. Once again, he dropped the address, this time on a promotional flyer, effectively handing over his location to the world. He arrived at the club, posted again, and even pointed out where he was sitting: upstairs lounge, birthday vibes, deep crew. Meanwhile, across town, rival gang members were quietly planning their next steps. Foolio's oversharing gave them more than enough intel to track him. After leaving the club, crew relocated to a Holiday Inn, where they waited for their manager to book rooms. But before they could get settled, a caravan of rival cars crept onto the scene. Men poured out, using bushes and cover of night to move in. They had one goal: find Foolio and finish the job. This wasn't random, this was personal. This was payback for a diss Foolio had made just days earlier. On June 23, the same day he was killed, Foolio dropped a track, mocking the loss of Yungeen Ace's brother. Went out to eat on his birthday. He rapped, "Hit 3, passed in the worst way." He ended the song with a bold line: "We hit in 23. That very night, 4 people were shot, just as his lyrics predicted. The symbolism wasn't lost on the police. The very next day, Yungeen Ace released a track of his own, seemingly recreating Foolio's lyrics in reverse. 4 in the car, 1 of them gone, 3 got hit. He rapped mirroring Foolio's disrespect and confirming, at least in spirit, a revenge narrative. And if that wasn't enough, his right-hand man posted a tweet from the late King Von saying, "Game over. We won, stupid." This online trail diss tracks, Instagram stories, and bold declarations created a digital blueprint for investigators. The very music and media that built their fame may now be the evidence that brings them down. For those who think drill rap is confined to Chicago, Jacksonville tells a different story. The genre has carved out a powerful, violent presence in Florida too. Local authorities are well aware, often working to push these artists out of the city. Some have even been unofficially exiled. One track that caught major attention was a reworking of Vanessa Carlton's hit 1,000 Miles. It was flipped into a chilling drill anthem where real names 5 or 6, all tied to Jacksonville streets, were dropped. And while some might call it music, others, including grieving families, see it as glorified trauma. These aren't fictional characters. They're real people with real families left to cope with the fallout. On July 19, police released the full set of records related to Foolio's death, and the revelations were stunning. Just a month before his murder, Foolio sat down for an interview, hinting that the violence between Jacksonville's 2 most notorious camps might actually come to a halt. He revealed there were plans to collaborate with Jay Breezy on a Stop the Violence record, something meant to inspire the youth and redirect the energy that had taken so many lives. "We talked about it," Foolio said. "My big cousins, with it, I'm with it. We just got to make this better, man." But police believe those peaceful efforts were met with deception. According to investigators, Yungeen Ace and his crew pretended to make amends with Foolio, lulling him into a false sense of safety. That false peace may have been why Foolio was so carefree on his birthday, posting his every move and location on Instagram without hesitation. But the real trigger behind Foolio's fate may trace back to April 2022, when Yungeen Ace's best friend, ATK Mitch, was killed. Foolio became a person of interest. That spring, Foolio was pulled over while driving a Dodge Durango with illegal tint. What started as a traffic stop quickly escalated when prosecutors arrived unexpectedly. Without a warrant, they searched his vehicle. Once they realized who he was, they placed him in the back of a squad car and began questioning him about Mitch's death. "You mind talking to us about Mitch?" the officer asked. Foolio responded coolly, insisting he was in Miami at the time and knew nothing. "I just saw it all on Instagram," he said. "Everybody was saying Mitch, 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 but I wasn't even in Jacksonville." Still, detectives pressed further, trying to establish any relationship between Foolio and ATK Mitch. Foolio brushed it off, said they were never close. Didn't really know each other, had no beef. "I didn't know nothing about it," he said. "You won't ever know who did that." As investigators tried to draw a connection, they turned their attention to the themes in Foolio's music, asking if he thought his lyrics could have inspired violence. "People were getting killed before I started rapping," Foolio replied flatly. "Don't blame the music." Despite his denial, law enforcement later found connections indicating that Foolio's crew was likely behind ATK Mitch's murder. It was a revelation that sparked a wave of emotion, especially from Mitch's family, who were desperate for answers. Charleston White, known for his outspoken commentary, didn't hold back in his response to Foolio's death. In a video reaction, he showed no sympathy. "People keep asking what I think," he said. "Man, nobody should be sad. That boy lived wild and died the same way. He was rapping at people's graves, making mamas cry. And now there are some folks out here relieved, thanking God it's over." Charleston White didn't hold back as he continued his unapologetic commentary. "He had all the time in the world to change," White said. "Could have apologized, could have turned his life around. But he didn't. So no, he's not in heaven." His words echoed across social media, sparking a firestorm of reactions. To some, his bluntness felt heartless and unnecessarily cruel. To others, he was simply stating a hard truth, one they believed Foolio had written for himself. Line by line, in the lyrics of his music, and the actions of his past, in the eyes of many who followed Jacksonville's street and rap conflicts closely, Foolio's murder wasn't a random, isolated act of violence. It was seen as the inevitable outcome of a long-standing feud, an act of revenge deeply rooted in the loss of ATK Mitch. That incident, too, had shaken the community, and Foolio was among those suspected of being involved. In the streets, retaliation is rarely delayed, and in this case, many believe it finally came full circle. This wasn't just a matter of street justice, it was a reflection of how deeply blurred the lines have become between music and reality, entertainment and real-world consequences. For years, Foolio's lyrics had been dissected, referenced, and debated, sometimes celebrated, sometimes condemned. But in many of his songs, he referenced real names, real situations, and real people who were no longer alive. To law enforcement and community members alike, that wasn't just music, it was a record of ongoing warfare. As fans, bloggers, and critics flooded comment sections in the hours after his death, the reactions were sharply divided. Some mourned the loss of a talented artist whose storytelling reflected the brutal honesty of his environment. Others saw his fate as a cautionary tale, tragic but predictable end for someone who had embraced a life steeped in provocation, gang rivalries, and public antagonism. Now, with Foolio gone and Yungeen Ace under the microscope, many are asking difficult questions. Was this all preventable? Was this the inevitable cost of vengeance in a fame-driven hyperpublic world? Or was it simply the final chapter in a cycle that no one ever tried hard enough to stop?